Have you ever wondered about those who dream of a better life versus those who create it? Are you waiting to accomplish your dreams and goals? Welcome to Create It Now. With your hosts, Jonathan Stone and Dawn Elizabeth. For the next 60 minutes, we're going to put your dreams into motion and create it now. The phone lines are open at 731-1230. That's 731-1230. Or toll free 1-866-820-5528. That's 1-866-820-KLAV. Now let's bring on the host and create it now. Here is Jonathan Stone and Dawn Elizabeth.
Good afternoon from the entertainment capital of the world, beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, on KLAV AM 1230 radio. Big Magic Al Jensen sitting in for Dawn Elizabeth, who happens to be working, presenting some corporate workshop seminars in Albuquerque today. So safe travels to you, Dawn. We'll look forward to seeing you back in studio next week. And I am here with Jonathan Stone. Jonathan, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Al. How are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. Are you ready to create it now?
I am so ready. I've been waiting for this all day.
All day.
All day.
I know that you created a tremendous radio show yesterday. We had some delightful hosts, or guests rather, on the show yesterday. And I think we had some really good information from Deanne Marie, who is helping busy professionals wring more out of the limited time, especially here at the holidays.
And also Ron White with his memory tools.
My goodness. That
Do you
guy,
remember any of it?
Actually, I was doing a few technical things while you were having the conversation with him, but I know that he was able to memorize the name, rank, and serial number of a couple thousand deceased veterans, and he goes around to various cities and demonstrates his memory skills by writing all this information and reciting it.
It takes him 10 hours to write the board and to write people's names, and it's the same out loud.
That is amazing that he has those memory capabilities. And while I was dealing with some technical issues here in the show, I heard that he gave the listeners some ideas, some memory tricks. And I don't like to call them tricks, but it's just methodologies,
Right.
more accurately to improve one's memory and memorize a lot of things.
Right. He taught us the first 5 presidents by looking at furniture and categorizing.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
I can probably recite 5 presidents total.
Exactly.
If I have an encyclopedia to refer to.
No, he's amazing. And he was talking about on his video, had that 6-year-old girl do all the presidents.
Yeah, and he taught her that in just a very short time,
Right.
how to do all the presidents. And what do we have, 44? Is that right?
44, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, that sounds about right.
Okay.
Yeah, no, and I spoke to him today, and Ron's a great guy. He's actually going to come out here. We're working on something where he can do the wall in that presentation where people can, in one of the casinos, where they can come by and see him all day as he's working on, because it's a 10-hour process.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, so I'm
That would be
excited
awesome.
for that.
So, in fact, I was actually trying to do a memory exercise earlier, remembering all of the characters that I have been for Halloween.
Oh,
Because
yes,
today
happy
is
Halloween.
Today is Halloween, so happy Halloween. Do you have big plans for the evening?
No, my foot is killing me. I don't know if everybody knows. Yes, I think I broke my foot, so I'm going to relax.
So,
today.
well, I'm
about
sorry to hear that. But, last on Tuesday of this week, you had Michelle Roxy Davis come in and co-host your show. And I do a show with her on Fridays called the 702 Rocks Show. And last week, we highlighted a number of the casino properties and the nightclubs and things that are doing special events. And we talked about some of them that are offering $20,000 first prize for best costume, and $10,000 prize for best costume, and $5,000 prize. So I kind of thought that I might get my best costume and then just go club hopping tonight and see if I can make a year's worth of income.
Well, I feel like I have club foot hopping today.
Club foot hopping.
Yeah, that's about the extent of
Don't get me started.
my hopping.
Don't get me started. I got some foot problems that.
Yes, you told us at one time.
Yeah. We're not going to talk about that today. But
I'll have to bring you back and refresh everybody.
Anyhow, tell us. Do you have memories of Halloween as a child? You grew up in
New York. New York and then California.
So,
Southern California.
At what age did you move from New York to Southern California?
believe I was around 12.
Okay, so kind of in the middle of the
Right.
whole Halloween thing, you probably have some memories from both New York as well as Southern California.
And it's also changed. I mean, because it's getting a lot scarier and stuff. But I think it's great that like malls and casinos now you can go into the stores
Right.
for people to go trick or treating and stuff. But I remember back in New York, we used to have a thing called Mischief Night, which was
Mischief
the
Night.
eve
Uh-huh.
of Halloween, and that's when all the toilet papering and egging would happen. Not that I would ever partake or
course
do
not.
anything
No,
like that. No. But Carol, our booker, used to do that all the time.
Really?
She is the egger person.
The egg and TP queen? Is that what you're saying?
She won't even say hello, and she's here.
Well, come on, Carol. Say hello to everybody.
Well, hello, everybody, and Jonathan and Al.
It's good to have you here with us today.
And happy Halloween.
Oh, happy Halloween to you.
So, I remember that whole Mischief Night thing. I grew up on a farm in northeast Iowa outside of a very small community, and there was a group of hoodlums who actually went around from farm to farm
Right.
and raised all sorts of cane. And I remember one night going out trick-or-treating and coming back, and my dad was so furious because there were wagons and farm implements in the front yard turned upside down. And I mean, they actually did, several
A lot of damage and
$100
stuff, yeah.
worth of damage. So I remember the next year, my dad says, okay, Mom is going to take you trick-or-treating. And he was going to sit in the house and wait. And sure enough, the
With the
gang
shotgun?
of hoodlums, and exactly,
With
with
the
the
shotgun?
shotgun. So the hoodlums came with 2 pickup trucks, and people sitting in the back of the pickup trucks pulled into to the driveway, into the yard, and all the people jumped out and started running to raise Cain. He went out and pulled the keys out of the ignition
Oh.
of the vehicles, and then fired off 3 or 4 shots up into the air.
That kind of worked.
And
Yeah.
that worked. That worked. They had 2 miles to run back to town. So
Wow.
Right.
yeah, he was very, very effective.
There's also another way to do it. You just take a big bowl and crush up some peanuts and M&Ms, and then you put up a sign, please take one, and just leave them on the bottom. And
Hey,
nobody ever comes back again.
I might try that tonight.
Exactly.
I might try that tonight. So tell me, do you have, Halloween always brings up stories of unexplained happenings, perhaps ghosts and ghostly apparitions and maybe spiritual experiences. Do you have any of those from your childhood or even from your adult life?
It's really interesting because it's one of these subjects. It's more, I'd say, I see these like visions or orbs or something around me. And I
Do
want to
you?
talk to Imara. Sometimes I can just be sitting there and it looks like actually a raindrop that's hit like a rainbow or light, and these bright, almost magical lights, and they're all clear, but it looks like a diamond sparkling,
Sure.
and they circle my body.
Really?
And I'll just be there. Nobody else can see it, and it'll just like circle. And it's like these beautiful raindrops and stuff, which is really interesting to
So,
me.
Jonathan, it sounds to me like you've never got over that drinking problem. Is that
Exactly. That's why I'm laying on the floor right now as we're doing this show.
Exactly. No, I understand what you're talking about orbs and visions and things like that. I have a friend who sees those. I've seen a lot of photographs of them, and I know a couple of locations here in Las Vegas where it's very easy to see orbs and experience people who are still with us in spirit only.
Yeah, my mom is really into that. I kind of stay away from it. I don't like Ouija boards or anything like that. I'm like, don't mess with that. They will not work around me. We've had some situations, but it's really powerful. But I also have another thing happen to me. I'll be at, if there's somebody I want to meet and I want to manifest, like the first time I met Les Brown or something like that, I will want to meet this person, and there will be one seat next to me, and within like 3-4 days, that person will sit next to me.
Awesome.
Like the only seat, and they sit next to me. I've had that happen multiple times. Somebody who's actually flying in this weekend for the next weekend for the Soul Train Music Awards, big television person. I want to meet that person, and they just happen to sit next to me.
And there they are.
And that was years ago, and we still kept in touch.
That's awesome.
Touched.
Well, the reason I ask these questions is I think this is kind of a little bit of a lead-in to our guest today. So why don't you explain who our guest is, and let's bring her in. She's calling in via telephone from Denver, Colorado today.
Yes, Imara is amazing. We've had her on before. I call her something different because to me, she's this powerful, energetic, spiritual life coach, and she's is known as a psychic and stuff like that. But there's a lot more to her, intuitive, and she can see the bigger picture and help you guide you in the direction you need to be. And a lot of people hire her, even the government, to consult on huge major business deals. And the person who introduced her to me, somebody I have a lot of respect for, and he swears by her and he lives by her, and he won't do anything without her consulting on him. And he's very successful and very well known and just a great guy, and he really believes in her, and I do as well. So I'm honored to have her on the show.
Very good. So, Imara, are you on the line there?
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Yes, I am, and happy Halloween to you both.
Well, thank you. Happy Halloween to you as well. And you are from Denver, is that right?
I live in Denver, yes. I've been here 21 years.
Excellent. Well, Denver, the Mile High City, I've lived there myself a number of years ago, and always enjoy going back to the Denver, Colorado area. Beautiful, beautiful area.
It's gorgeous. They say 59% of people surveyed in the United States wish to live in Colorado.
I would not argue with that at all. Now, Imara, you are, just for my edification, you are a professional intuitive and clairvoyant and psychic. Are those some handles, some labels that we can put on you that are reasonably accurate?
Sure, you can put those labels on me. Other people have.
Yeah.
All right.
And many more. Yes, that's so there's some of the common names. A clairvoyant is a type of psychic. Psychic is a general term. Clairvoyant means clear seeing. Clairsentient, which I am also, is clear feeling. It's able to touch into emotions, feelings, motivations. And clairaudient is clear hearing, where you hear voices.
Wow.
So I'm able to see past, present, and future. I'm gifted with the sight of vision and the ability to see possible outcomes in the future, as well as understand dynamics in the present and analyze reasons why of past occurrences. So, and I don't need to be in person to do it, so I feel very blessed in that way.
Well, you are. What a gift. And I want to make a note to all of our listeners out there that we would invite our listeners to call in if they have any stories of unexplained happenings, ghostly experiences, dreams that are really kind of hard to understand, spiritual experiences, things like that. Give us a call at 702-731-1230, and we'll put you on the line with Imara and see if she can help you interpret those.
To find out. So, Imara, I don't know if you heard what I was saying earlier, but I have like those orbs or those really bright lights around me.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever heard of that? Or do you know what kind
Sure.
of... What does that mean? So they're like raindrops, but they're extremely
powerful.
powerful.
And they most often show up in photographs. I have a client who has a child, and actually I baptized, christened this child, maybe 13 years ago. And she, when you see pictures of her, there are often orbs in the photographs of her and around her. And I believe those are entity beings of protection. She is a disabled child, and yet she has this light in her soul, in her presence, that is just amazing. In fact, she was cast as Sunshine in a show in Denver, and quite literally it was typecasting. I often see them around people that are in transition. They've showed up a lot more in the last decade. You never heard of anybody speaking of them or seeing them. And in the last decade, more and more people are talking about the orbs. And I believe that they are a form of communication, spiritual entity, an energy presence. Often, for me, they feel to be a guiding, protective, or some people like to call them guides. Type of energy. That's what I see most often around them, or in the energies of people that have them or that they're present, for.
Very good, Imara. Thank you. Hey, Imara, stick with us. We have to go to a commercial break. We'll be back in a moment. You're listening to the Create It Now radio show. Don't forget to find us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Check out our website at createitnowmedia.com. We're talking with Imara. We'll be right back.
Why wait to accomplish your dreams when you can create them now? It's time to put your dreams into motion. Create it now. Hi, this is Jonathan Stone with Create It Now radio show on KLAV 1230 AM. Join us every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. We will help you move from a dream state to a create state. Become a part of a conversation on the Create It Now radio show about why some people dream it versus why other people create it. Every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. on KLAV.
Hi, everyone. This is New Media Vegas, your Sin City webmasters in Las Vegas, Nevada.
More than just web design, complete integrated marketing with inspired innovations in delivery of your new media message, putting the groove and the backbeat back in your brand.
The hottest in design trends with the latest innovations in marketing techniques. Call New Media Vegas at 702-517-0184.
Or visit us online at www.newmediavegas.com. Don't forget to check out our online magazine, Sin City Presents, featuring business, technology, fashion, dining, and entertainment news.
702-517-0184. 702-517-0184.
This is Les Brown, Mrs. Mamie Brown's baby boy. Those of you that are listening, I encourage you to listen to Create It Now, because it will teach you how to live full and die empty, how to begin to manifest your greatness and make your mark.
Create It Now. Continues. Join the conversation at 702-731-1230 or email create@createitnowmedia.com. Here again, your hosts, Jonathan Stone and Dawn Elizabeth.
You are listening to the Create It Now radio show. If you're just tuning in, we're speaking with Imara today about unexplained happenings, dreams, spiritual experiences, ghostly happenings, things like that. Big Magic Al Jensen here, sitting in for Dawn Elizabeth, who is working in Albuquerque today, and along with me in studio, Jonathan Stone.
Hello.
So, Imara, thank you for sticking with us through the break. And while we were at break, Jonathan and I were talking about some strange experiences and happenings in our life. And I know Jonathan has a question for you regarding something that he has experienced.
Yes. Hello, Imara. Okay, so I explained to everybody about going to Israel and the Wailing Wall. And it's so powerful when you go there. The back of the hair on the back of your neck just stands up. And I tell
that's funny you say that, because that's just what happened the minute you said the Wailing Wall to me.
Yeah, so I want to actually talk about that phenomenon. But I said every time people go, I'm going to go to Israel, and I'm like, you've got to go there. I don't care what religion you are, what you believe in, the power and that's there that you will feel is so amazing. And when they come back, every single one of them is like, I cannot believe it. It was so powerful. So that made you have a reaction. What caused that? What do you believe that is, that energy, that power?
You know, even people that aren't normally sensitive to the subtleties of energy feel that energy. And that is because it, for want of a better word, but to be quite graphic, the Wailing Wall is quite literally the Wailing Wall. It has been a dumping ground for emotion and for very, very powerful, deep-rooted and seated emotions of thousands of people for many, many years. And people go there with these intentions that are deep within them, that are deeply felt, with this desire to express. Many of these are negative feelings, and they dump them energetically at this place. This place then holds that energy because it is so symbiotic that, you know, what most people go there for is kind of a related reason and intention, and it's the same, and they dump on each other, and it stays, and it stays, and it builds, and it builds, and it's kind of an invisible pile or mountain that has accumulated over time. And so this area of the earth, this literally locale, holds this energy, and when you walk into it or start getting close to it, I would bet you could feel it from within a mile of the taxi cab.
It's insane.
Or a walk.
Yeah, you could just feel this overpowerment, and there's no anger in you. There's just this peace. You see soldiers there with machine guns. You see people from all religions praying, and you're just there, and it's like this euphoric feeling, just all around you. And it looks like we have a caller in for you.
Yeah, is working with all these emotions in combination, and whether you feel neutral, plus, minus, it doesn't matter. It's that it's like walking into a bubble, and you're in that field. That's not dissimilar to what you feel when you walk into certain places on this earth that have strong vortex of energy, or haunted houses or hotels where something important happened, or repeated events of importance happened. The place holds the energy, and when you walk into it, you can feel it, and it can touch you, especially if you have some personal connection to why this place holds the energy.
Right. So you're actually part of it. But Imara, we actually have a phone call for you.
Great.
And
it's Deanne. We have Deanne on the line. Deanne, are you there?
I'm here.
Well, welcome.
Hi, Deanne. Welcome.
Welcome to the Create It Now show. Go ahead and ask your question for Imara.
Hi, Imara. So this is, I don't know if this, okay, this is something really weird that happened. My father, when my parents got married, my mom had to jam his ring on his finger, and he never got it sized, and so he never wore it for like 40 years. So literally on his deathbed, he was ill with cancer, and as soon as I came home to sit with him, I noticed, hey, Bub, you got your ring on. That's great. Of course, he was unconscious at the time, but the first thing I noticed was his wedding ring on his finger, and it was on his finger when he died. It was on his finger in the, when we buried him. And about, I would say 6 months later, I cleaned out my mom's safe deposit box and flew it out here to Vegas. And we were unpacking everything, and there was this little box, little jewelry box, with the yellowed cellophane tape on it. It had been taped shut, and it said Wally's baby ring. And I said, Mom, what's a baby ring? And she explained the tradition. And so we opened the box and took out the little piece of cotton, and my dad's wedding ring fell out.
Wedding ring was there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what a sweet story. I love that.
We both got
I knew it
chills.
was coming. I love that story. I mean, that's your dad communicating with you from beyond to say, I'm with you. I'm not gone. I'm with you. I love you. And, I love that he put it in the baby ring wrapper, because it's as if to say, you're special to me. I have many fond memories of you in childhood, and I want you to think of this in a good way, as a child would think of memories in a good way. I don't want you to think of this with sadness and the moroseness of an adult. I want you to think of this with the joy a little girl has for her daddy.
Oh, I love that. Thank you.
Nice. And I get that he wants you to wear it around your neck.
Oh, I have it in my jewelry box, so okay, I'll wear it.
I keep seeing him say, you can wear it, it's okay, and I see it hanging like on a gold chain around your neck, and it's to remind you not only of his love, but he wants you to live life with I keep getting this expression from him, the joy of a child, the innocence of a child. I want you to have more fun.
Oh, thank you so much.
Does that make sense from him?
It does make sense, yes. It definitely makes sense.
All right, Deanne, thank you so much for your call. I hope that was a help for you.
It was very much so. Thanks, Al. Thanks, Jonathan.
Oh, our pleasure.
All right.
Guys, George Washington Carver said, if you love it enough, anything will talk with you. If you've lost a loved one, and I agree with that, if you've lost a loved one and you are desiring to be in connection with them, it's not about thinking, it's not about trying, it's not about dancing some heebie-jeebie dance in a circle around a bunch of candles. It's about opening your heart to that person. And sending what I call a heart telegram, and all it is a message of love or feeling of love. And more often than not, you will get some type of response in some often mundane way in your life that is a signal that that person is with you or heard you or is still in your heart.
Right. That's beautiful. So do you suggest for people to be more able to want to receive instead of, I know, because it freaks out a lot of people, and I know sometimes when I feel that feeling, I just get a little freaked out. Like my mom's like, bring it, and I'm like, whoa, no, don't come here. I'm like,
well, and you're wise, because I do see some people getting into trouble by saying bring it without protection and training. So there's a difference between saying, as our last caller just did, I want to know if my dad's okay, or I want to know that he even still exists on some plane. and a loved one, or I want to connect with my grandmother, than there is saying, oh, bring me experiences with otherworldly creatures and beings on the other side. So one is very harmless and pretty innocent and loving, that you're connecting specifically. The other one, you're kind of saying, oh, I'm opening up to all sorts of anything that can be out there, and that can get dangerous.
Right.
There's the astral plane and the spiritual plane, and there's all sorts of energies, discarnate entities, unhappy energies, strange things.
I actually want to talk to you about that, about a personal experience that I had with something like that. But I want to remind our listeners that we are at 702-731-1230. If you have a question that relates to an unexplained happening, a ghostly experience, maybe an unexplained dream or spiritual experience, if you'd like to speak with Imara about that, give us a call at 702-731-1230. Now, Imara, I'm a comedy magical entertainer, and I perform at a small theater here in Las Vegas called the Cube Theater. Now, the Cube Theater is a private theater. It's not for public venues, but when we do shows there, we invite people in. And I know the owners of the theater, Ryan and Loli Ahern, delightful human beings. Loli is a very spiritual person, and frequently I'll go down to the theater and spend some time with her. And I went down there one afternoon, and Loli was on the stage, in the center of the stage. She had just acquired, I think it's called a sounding bowl. Are you familiar with that?
A crystal singing bowl?
Okay, a singing bowl. Yes, it was, I'm going to say, about 30 inches in diameter, and she had like a stick that she ran around it, and it made this incredible sound, and there was so much energy there. And she was so excited. She had just acquired this singing bowl and had just started to play it, and amazingly, two of the lights from the top of the theater that had been burned out for months and months and months, and were very, very difficult to replace due to their location, these two lights just amazingly came on. And you could just feel the energy there. It was just an unexplained happening, but it was a positive energy. When I experienced it with her, I didn't feel any fret, any worry, anything like that. It felt like we were at peace, and there was no doubt that there were a lot of spirits around us there.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's funny that you use that example. I happen to be one of the world's 3 largest sources of quartz crystal singing bowls.
Really?
It evolved out. I'm a sound healer as well, and it evolved out of a vision I was given in 1989 that how I was to help get these in the hands of as many people as possible. So I can approach this from 2 levels. One is the vibration of sound in the quartz that was generated in the theater. The other is certainly as a medium and psychic. And what I'm getting in this theater is that I'm getting that there was an energy field created when she played this bowl that was a vibration that stimulated, or better, unclogged something that allowed it to kind of come to the surface.
Mm-hmm.
And these bowls are often used. I use them when I do house clearings or office clearings for various people, and I use them to clear energy. And I will use them to dispel negative energy and clear it out and invoke positive energy. And it's a very easy, simple way of using the vibration in a certain tone or sound to create a clearing, a ripple effect of clearing. And so here she is in the middle of this place, and she's clearing the energy. And so it's like when you clean out your pond, if it's dirty, when you clear it, it gets kind of, you stir stuff up from the bottom, right?
Right.
You stir muck and mud and creatures and all sorts of little things, microscopic, unseen things. And then you clear it out until it's crystalline blue or clear again. So I feel that what happened in this experience is she stirred something up, and the energy was so strong, it literally created a burst that activated the electrical fields and the wiring, which resulted in an outlet of lighting the bulb. Often in theaters, I feel the presence of other entities, and I think that theaters are common for that for this reason.
Mm-hmm.
So often people that work in theaters, they are so passionate about what they do. They have such a deep desire and dream to succeed and become well-known and be famous, and often they give up everything to do that. And when they leave this earthly plane, especially if they didn't accomplish their dream, I often find them hanging around the theater.
Sure.
Because
Now,
they love it so much.
Imara, we have to go to our next break, so hang with us. We're going to be back. We're going to be back shortly. You're listening to the Create It Now radio show. Don't forget to find us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Check out our website at createitnowmedia.com. We're talking with Imara. Stick with us. We'll be right back.
The best television isn't on television. It's on the internet. Log on to realwisdomtv.com for thousands of hours of motivational and inspiring content. On demand, all the time. Unlike network television with its sex, drugs, and rock and roll, realwisdomtv.com provides wellness, wealth, and wisdom. From how to read faster to creating greater wealth, realwisdomtv.com is for you. The learning never stops, and neither does realwisdomtv.com. Log on now to realwisdomtv.com.
From the entertainment capital of the world, listen to On Stage in Vegas on the fourth Thursday of each month at 9 p.m. right here on KLAV. You'll hear interviews, stories, and valuable life and business lessons from performers, producers, and directors who have created success on stage in Vegas and around the world. Join me, Big Magic Al Jensen, and Michelle Roxy Davis as we bring you stories from the stage that are guaranteed to inspire, motivate, and entertain. If you can't make it live, log on to VegasAllNetRadio.com to find show archives and bonus interviews. Either way, we look forward to seeing you on stage in Vegas.
I'm Wyland, and this is for Create It Now Radio. I hope you guys will all listen in. It's got a great message.
Those who can do. This is Create It Now. Join the conversation at 702-731-1230 or email create@createitnowmedia.com. Here again, your hosts, Jonathan Stone and Dawn Elizabeth.
You are listening to the Create It Now radio show. If you're just tuning in, we're speaking with Imara. And Imara, we have covered a lot of territory, and I want to share a story with you about something that happened right here in this radio studio just about 2 or 3 weeks ago. We had a team, they were called the Contact Afterlife Team of Parapsychics, and they investigate the paranormal and determine if there are still spirits in the neighborhood, things of that nature. They came in and they were a guest on one of my radio shows, not this particular show, Create It Now, but on a different show. And during the studio time, they had their instrumentation out and they were able to determine that there was absolutely no spirits whatsoever in this little studio that we sit in. Although once we left the studio and got into the hallways of the office complex here, that they felt, and I actually felt, like a cold chill. And I could feel something, and they said, oh my goodness, the thing just went off the meter, like unbelievable, that there were outside of the studio, there were just a lot of spirits. So is that a common thing where inside of a building there will be an area that is clean or clear of spirits that want to avoid, and then other areas that will attract them?
Yes, absolutely. Years ago, Channel 7 News followed me around for a week, and they took me to a lot of historic places in Colorado that had legends of being haunted, and I didn't know anything about them. I was new to Colorado. I didn't know where they were going to take me. And one of them was the Shining Hotel, or otherwise known as the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park. Another one was an apartment building near Capitol Hill. Another was an old mansion from a silver baron. And those were 3 of them that we went to. And each one of them had pretty strong negative energy and were all haunted. And I was very glad I was spot on in all of them.
I bet.
They had a historian, so they'd have me take me through with the camera, do the story, and in the end of the show, or at the end when it was all done and edited and put together, I watched the airing, and there's me talking about what I'm getting, and they split to the actual historian telling the legend.
No kidding.
And absolutely, in an entire building, you can get spots where people, spirit, discarnate entities hang out. It could be a spot where something happened, perhaps a suicide or a death or a trauma. Often that's what happens when you feel a spot. especially if it's a large building. I was in an apartment building. This apartment building that they took me to, for example, had hundreds of apartments, and of course they started me in the basement, and I'm like, this is the cleanest boiler room I've ever been in. I'd sleep here. And I just went through the whole building, and what was shocking to them, and even kind of still surprises me every time I do it, is of all the hundreds of buildings, I felt pulled and led to one particular apartment or one spot. And I felt that someone had committed suicide, and there was a lover's thing and being discovered, and I saw a man coming from the Capitol, and it was a whole this secret political thing. It was a whole story. It was just fascinating. If we have more time someday, we can get into.
Absolutely.
But the entire building was great. Positive energy, clean energy, neutral energy. It was this one apartment. And it turns out that was why they brought me to that building. Unbeknownst to me, this landlord could never keep this apartment rented. It was constantly being turned over. Nobody could stand to stay in it. Now, this event happened in the 19th century. And so everything was fine, just at one spot. And in your building, you may be fine in studio or down the hall or upstairs or downstairs, but there can be an energy vortex, if you will, or there can be an event from a particular person that causes that to be. So sometimes we're dealing with a person, a discarnate entity. Sometimes we're dealing with a vortex of energy that comes up through the ground, and often is the reason we have hauntings in a specific building, because the building itself might sit on a field or land that has that kind of vortex.
Now, Imara, we have a caller on the line who has a question for you. His name is Brad. Brad, are you with us?
I'm here.
Brad, go ahead and ask your
Brad.
ask
Nice
your
to
question.
meet you.
Nice to meet you, too. Hi, Jonathan. How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing good. You may remember me from Tuesday's show.
Brad.
Oh, yeah. I was a guest on the show, and, of course, I'm fascinated with that was my phone beeping through. Anyways, I'm fascinated with the whole paranormal thing. I've had a few experiences myself, but recently, when I was living in Orlando, I recently moved to Las Vegas. And this guy, I'm a music producer, and this guy came in, and he says, dude, my parents sent me a video. They were looking through a house. Now, this is in a different country, and they were just basically videotaping the house just to, show relatives or whatever. They're planning on buying it. And, of course, we have the mother and the father was videotaping. And there's, I saw a kid run in from the outside, but the kid wasn't around. And what freaked him out the most is the parents were listening to this watching the playback. And all of a sudden, there was a person, it sounded like either a little boy or a little girl, started singing. And it was, and then there was another voice that sang with it, and it was an entire song. Now, obviously, a different language. It sounded something Middle Eastern. It had a very interesting tones and melodies to it and stuff like that. But it was an entire song being sung behind this entire recording, and it was so loud and predominant. You could hear the echoes in the hallways and stuff like that. But obviously, they were just looking at a house. And we had melodies, and it was the entire song from start to finish. And then, when he walked outside, you hear the voice kind of, disappear for a little bit. And then when he came back in, there's the voice again. And the parents, they're not out here looking, there's nobody sitting there singing in front of them. It was so loud that I'm sure the parents would have said, stop singing.
Interesting. So, Imara, what's your take on this situation?
I love this story because, the camera picked up what the naked ear couldn't hear. Technically, I can't. Technically,
yeah,
I can't
it's hard to say.
How these things work from a scientific standpoint. My saying is magic is merely science unexplained. I believe that I say obviously, other people say I'm crazy. I say obviously there's somebody that lives there, and they are making it known so that if your parents decide to buy this house or have bought this house, they understand that somebody still lives there. And it's a child who likes to sing. Fortunately, the child is happy.
The great thing was it was very peaceful. You don't get scared about it, but it does leave hairs tingling because he was so freaked out. He's like, dude, do you mind going in there and taking out the background noise? Like he was so freaked out. It was hard for him to be in the room because it scares him. And I was just there just to take out the background noise. So I have these two wonderful videos of them just walking through a house in the daytime, bright lights and everything like that, and this voice just sings and sings, and then there's harmonies. There's one voice that sings, and then an adult voice sings over it, and it's just weird, and it was like in tune and beautiful, and it went from start to finish. I wish I knew the language. I think it was Spanish, but it's.
You know what would be fun for them is to go into the home records in the local area where they were and do the history. I'll bet you anything they'll find the history of ownership of a family who was musical or sang or, that kind of thing. And I'll bet you anything you'll find it in the records there, because clearly that those energies are still there with the house. When people build things with their blood, sweat, and tears, and sometimes it's the most joyful time in their lives, and often they die unexpectedly. It's the unexpected passings that tend to create situations like this. And it's not always the person that's still there. It's often the energy is so strong, like at the Wailing Wall or at the Stanley Lake Hotel or at the apartment building that I talked about in Denver. The energy is often so strong, the imprint, if you will, kind of like putting your hand on memory foam mattress, right? You take it off and the imprint's still there. Sometimes it's not the person, sometimes it's the imprint of the energy that is so strong that remains in that place. It feels to me like that's a place of happy memories. Now, before I would close on the property like that, or a client of mine would help me have me go after there and really check it out to make sure it's all good. I don't think
they bought the house. I think they were so freaked out that they didn't take it.
They didn't take it, yeah.
No, I think they were scared. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, and that's typically what will happen in something like that. I get the child died prematurely of disease and doesn't know where else to go.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that is so profound because I was actually going to start my own show because I got laid down on by a ghost in the Standard Hotel in L.A. on Sunset Strip, and I found out it was an old retirement home, and I actually was paralyzed on the left side, and crazy things happened, and I'd never had an experience like that in my life, and from that point I've been totally, face forward into this the supernatural and stuff like that, which is crazy. But it's something that I actually would be interested in if there's a way of sending you the clip for you to listen to, because I think you'd be fascinated to listen to it.
I would love to see it. You can send it to me, Imara at thewisdomlight.com.
All right.
IMARA.
Sorry, for everybody to listen to.
IMARA at thewisdomlight.com. My phone number is 303-575-1100. And maybe I can take a look at it and we can both coordinate coming back on Jonathan's show and talking about what we saw.
Oh, my God, yeah, it's fascinating.
All right, well, Brad, thank you so much for calling. And Imara, that gives us a great opportunity. Why don't you let all of our listeners know one more time what your website address is?
They're welcome to check me out at topsychic.com, TOPPSYCHIC, topsychic.com, or thewisdomlight.com. And my phone number is 303-575-1100. And I'd like to offer what we're doing today. Any more of you want to call in? I'm giving away today a $150 consultation to one caller today. So at the end of the show, we'll announce which of the callers to today's show gets a $150 consultation.
Very good. And we will have time for one more call, perhaps, after our next quarter-hour break. So if you want to speak with Imara, give us a call at 702-731-1230. So, Imara, you're obviously going to be able to stick with us through the commercial break?
Love to.
Yes,
very
another
good.
Question when we get back.
Yeah, we've got lots more to talk about. So, you are listening to the Create It Now radio show. Don't forget to find us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Check out our website at createitnowmedia.com. We're talking with Imara. We'll be right back.
Hey,
it's Roxy from the 702 Rock Show, right here at VegasAllNetRadio.com. Listen to my show every Friday, 4 to 5 p.m. to hear about local artists, musicians, fashion designers, and more, right here in Las Vegas. So tune in every Friday, 4 to 5 p.m. to hear me, Michelle Roxy Davis, right here at VANR on the 702 Rock Show.
We're blowing it out at Gene Woods Racing Experience, Las Vegas's newest premier outdoor adrenaline-powered gasoline go-karting track with speeds in excess of 45 miles per hour if you've got the balls. We've got 2-for-1 Tuesdays, buy one and your friend rides free. We've got $5 off coupons, and remember, on your birthday, members ride free. And they get a free Gene Woods Racing Experience t-shirt, open Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. till 11. Saturday and Sunday, noon till 11. And we're located at 121 East Sunset Road in Las Vegas Boulevard at the Sports Center across from McCarran Airport. Come blow the doors off your competition at Gene Woods Racing Experience. Once you race here, you won't go anywhere else. Be there. Be there. Be there.
Hey, this is Danny Vegas, and let me tell you something. When you're ready to stop dreaming and start doing, you need to tune in to my friends at Create It Now, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 3 o'clock in the afternoon to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Like I said, quit dreaming and start doing.
Welcome back to Create It Now. Join the conversation at 702-731-1230 or email create@createitnowmedia.com. Here again, your hosts, Jonathan Stone and Dawn Elizabeth.
Big Magic Al Jensen here, sitting in for Dawn Elizabeth, who is working in Albuquerque right now. Sitting in with Jonathan Stone in studio, and we have Imara on the phone with us from beautiful Denver, Colorado. And Imara, off air during the commercial break, Jonathan and I were talking a little bit, and he's got a very interesting question for you. So, Jonathan, go ahead.
Yes, hello, Imara. Welcome back. I sage and smudge a lot. And I want to know what you think about that, because you were talking about the quartz bowls and stuff like that, and I have a collection of those. But what do you think about saging or smudging? I mean, I guess it's the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I studied with traditional Native Americans, and I've studied particularly medicine teachings with one medicine man who typically doesn't work with white people off the reservation. And so since 1980s, I have, come from a tradition of smudging and using sage to smudge. I like it. It's clearing. I love the scent. I associate it with clearing energy, and it is an old, hundreds of year old traditions. All the old religions and all the cultures around the world have a form of smudging. Everywhere you go, whether they use sage or sandalwood oil or cedar, it's a very powerful technique, and I think it's very effective. You can, quote, smudge with the bowls cleanly without leaving ashes, which is advantageous.
Right, that's what I was asking.
Yes, I use them to smudge, and it's much cleaner than dropping ashes all over a house or in a closet.
I just actually put it on the wall. I take the big piece of sage, I light it, and then I blow it out, and I actually put it on the corners of the walls.
Right.
And so I have these black spots.
With the abalone shell underneath it, and the abalone shell symbolizes the universe, and you hold that for protection as well as the symbolism. But you can use the bowls as well, because you just play them in a counterclockwise position and move around the room in a counterclockwise position, or the house or the building, and use the vibration to clear, especially when you don't want the residue of smoke or ashes in a place that you're clearing.
Right. So when you come over to my house, you'll see black smudge marks all over my walls. Seriously. People think I'm nuts. I'm like, no, I got to smudge. Especially if negative people go. Because you could smudge anytime. It's not just when you move into a home. I mean, if you've just had a bad breakup or you've gotten into a fight with somebody or a bad business deal, I always do it. I feel it's very cleansing. You just walk around, even though the house smells like sage for like 3 days, because it's so powerful. Because those big sage leaves, they're crazy. And it just billows all the smoke. And so it came from the Indians. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an indigenous practice, and you know, you can sage, as you said, for any reason. And another trick, if you will, that you can do to clear yourself is this is my favorite clearing technique. Beside the bowls, is you take a hot bath in Epsom salt. Epsom salts people think of as a muscle relaxer or a laxative if taken internally. Right. But if you put 2 to 3 cups, now that's a lot. I'm not talking about a little sprinkling, mamsy-pamsy thing. 2 to 3 cups of Epsom salt in hot water, and then add cool water so it's tepid enough for you to get into, and soak for an hour. It creates this energetic clearing and clears your aura, particularly if you've had something emotional happen or grieving or something negative, to clear everything out of your aura so that you can start the day anew or start again all over again, clear and clean energetically.
Nice. Is there anything you're supposed to say? And we should say one thing about that. You should bathe face up. Just want to make sure nobody does anything crazy.
Good point. Good point.
And then they're calling up. We just want to throw that out there.
One of those things that I wouldn't think we would have to explain. But
we might be communicating with you on another level.
Exactly. It wouldn't be, but it could be kind of clean and pure. So is there any blessing or prayer, or do you just have positive thoughts when you're doing this?
You know, there are several traditional prayers, but first and foremost, what I would say to anyone out there is do what's comfortable to you. If you are of a specific religion or have a belief in a specific ascended master or divine being, that's what you use. If you like the Rosary or the Hail Mary or the Our Father or the 27th Psalm, whatever works for you. Or you can simply say, I cleanse this place of any and all negativity it has encountered in the name of the highest truth, wisdom, and life.
Right. So it's basically any religion or anything you are, it's like to the light, to any spirituality you want. It's just throwing it out there and manifesting this new cleanse and this protection around you.
Sure. It doesn't, if you're seeking truth and you are of good intention, of clean heart, it's less important the exact word that you say as long as the intention is. And in this case, you're just asking, you're not asking for, you are affirming. You never come from a position of lack when you pray or ask or intend. You always come from a position of present tense existence affirmation. I affirm this place is cleared of all negativity which it has encountered. If you come from a place of lack, you're reinforcing what's missing.
Very good. Hey, Imara, we're getting pretty close to the end of our show. I wanted to ask you where the gift that you were going to give to one of our callers. Give us a brief description of that. And was it Deanne or Brad who is going to receive that?
Sure. The description is, I think both our callers today were from Las Vegas, and I was just in Las Vegas to do a wedding, but I'm not there now, so the gift is by telephone. I will be happy to do a half-hour consultation if they want to give me a call. And you know what? I don't want to pick one person over the other. So since there's two people, I'm going to give them both.
Very nice. Very nice. Well, thank you so much. We'll make sure that both Deanne and Brad have your contact information. And why don't you share your contact information with our listeners one more time?
Deanne and Brad and anyone else that would like to call me can call me at 303-575-1100. 303-575-1100, and you can read more about me and my services and what other people have to say at thewisdomlight.com.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for being with us today, Imara. That's all the time we have today on the Create It Now radio show. This show will be rebroadcast on VegasAllNetRadio.com from 11 p.m. to midnight tonight and every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. You can also find all of our previous shows archived on Vegas AllNet Radio as well. We'll be back next Tuesday from 3 to 4 p.m. So come back. You don't want to miss it. Dream big, take action, and create it now.
Have a happy Halloween and amazing weekend, everybody.